Hi, my name is Cedric Honstadt. I am an illustrator and cartoonist. I've been my own boss for about 20 years. I've worked on lots of projects. I've designed toys for Disney and Hasbro. I've done advertising comps for Coca-Cola and Best Buy. I've illustrated children's books. I've had my art on cereal boxes, done lots of fun things. And one question that I get every once in a while is another artist will write me and say, basically, they'll tell me about a project that's something they're not used to doing, and they'll basically say, how much do you think I should charge per hour for this? What should be my hourly rate? And what I usually tell them is not to charge an hourly rate, instead to charge a flat fee. And there's three reasons for that. First is that the value is not really in your time. I know a lot of us, we're used to starting out in life. You work jobs, you flip burgers, or you work at a grocery store or whatever, and you punch a clock. And so you're getting paid for the hours that you put in. And for a lot of jobs, that makes sense. But for creativity, for music or art or whatever, that's really the wrong way to think about it. When was the last time you listened to a song and thought, this is a really great song, because you can just tell they put a lot of time into it? Or when was the last time you read a story and thought, that was a really awesome story because and what made it great was that the writer spent a bunch of time on it. Nobody thinks like that. And that's because the value isn't in your time. The value is in the end result, however it takes you to get there. If you can turn in great artwork and you can turn it into your client on time, and you meet their needs and exceed their expectations, and you solve their problems, and you're professional, and you do great artwork, that is where the value is. And the value is also in, of course, how it's going to get used. If you're going to, creating a character for a big corporation that's going to use it as a mascot and make tons of money, that's got a lot of value. So there's value in how the client uses it as well. But the one thing that doesn't matter is how long it took you to make. Nobody cares. It's irrelevant. Second reason is that creativity is really unpredictable. Every artist will tell you that there are some days when you just feel like you're in the zone, and your brain is bubbling and ideas are flowing and there's energy just like lightning bolts shooting through your hand, and you're just drawing and the pencil lines are coming out perfect and the art is looking really great and it's just flowing and it's going fast. And there are other days when it's the opposite, when you're just sluggish and you just can't think, and you have to work twice as hard to do something that's half as good, and you just feel like, God, I don't know what happened. I know I could draw good yesterday. What the heck? But a professional will push through that, and gradually the lightning comes back. But creativity is just unpredictable. Sometimes you can do something great quickly when you're in the zone, and other times you can do something mediocre and take a long time. So another reason not to charge hourly. And the third reason is that as you get better, as you get more experience, you should be doing better work, and you should be able to do it a lot faster. And so if you're just charging per hour, the faster you get and the better you get, the less money you make. And that's kind of backwards, right? You don't want to have some young guy who's doesn't know what he's doing and takes twice as long to do something to make more money than you, right? That just doesn't make any sense. So for those three reasons, the value is not in your time, creativity is unpredictable, and you shouldn't be making less money for being faster. Those are three reasons why I would say don't charge per hour. Instead, what you should do is just charge a flat fee. Talk to the client about the project up front, get all the information you can, find out what their needs are and how you can meet them, and then just say, this is what it'll cost. And that's actually a win-win. It's good for them. The client usually appreciates that because they know right away up front what it's going to cost, and they don't have to sit there and wonder, what's the final bill going to be? How long is this really going to take? They just know right away it's going to cost X. And it's also good for you because the incentive is for you to work faster. It's actually good for both of you because it means that the incentive is for you to make more per hour, but it means that you're more likely to get them sketches quickly and then meet their deadline by turning around fast artwork. Obviously, you don't want to be sloppy. You want to do your best and do a good job, but you want to also be efficient. And so those are a couple of reasons why it's good for you to just charge a flat fee up front. There are two exceptions. I would charge hourly in two situations. One is if it's a huge project. I just recently completed a project where I did about 300 illustrations for a client. And in hindsight, I should have charged hourly for it. And the reason is because of something called scope creep. And that's where, every project has maybe miscommunications, or someone changes their mind, or there's something's not right and you just need to make tweaks and changes. And if you're just doing one illustration and somebody wants a couple changes for take an hour or two to do, not a big deal. But if you're doing, let's say, 50 illustrations for a big project, well, and you suddenly have to spend 2 hours changing each one, 50 times 2, that's 100 extra hours. That's over 2 more weeks of work that you're doing just making simple changes. And so with the big project, that's called scope creep, when the scope of the project just kind of creeps bigger and bigger and bigger. And so if you charge an hourly rate for that, you're not going to be doing those 2 extra weeks of work for free. Second time I would charge hourly is for excessive revisions. I have a clause in my contract that I have all my clients sign up front, so it's not a surprise. But it basically says something like, I reserve the right to, if there's excessive revisions, to charge a revision rate, and it's usually an hourly rate that is pretty high, and that's because revisions are going to happen. I'll do sketches, and the client wants some changes, not a problem. I'll turn in the final artwork. The client might still want some changes, not a problem. But occasionally I'll get maybe a client who's really particular, or you get some miscommunication, or a bunch of people on a team who can't agree. For whatever reason, they can just want changes and tweak this and change that, and can you fix this and let's change that. And you can just nickel and dime you to death with change after change after change. And so in those situations, I'll say, look, I'm happy to make more changes, but I'm going to have to start charging this revision rate, and it's X amount per hour. And quite often, you'd be surprised at how suddenly the client realizes what it's going to cost, and they're like, oh my gosh, well, maybe those changes aren't that important after all. Maybe we like it after all the way it is. So anyway, those are 2 times when I would charge hourly. Otherwise, just charge a flat fee. That's what I recommend. If you like my babbling about this, you can listen to 90 minutes of it over at taughtbyapro.com. You can rent a webinar that I created a couple years ago called Be Your Own Boss, Freelancing Tips and Tricks. You can look for it over there. And if you like what I have to say, you can subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.